You ever notice how some people don't see you? Only see what they can get from you? They smile, they flatter, they act like they care, but underneath, it's just a hand reaching into your pocket. How many times have you been taken advantage of? How many friendships, relationships, or partnerships have you seen turn sour? When you realized you were dealing with someone who only cared about themselves and the value you could bring to the table, it's a bitter pill to swallow, isn't it? But here's the hard truth. The world is full of people who will exploit your kindness, your trust, and your wallet, if you let them. But the Stoics, they knew this game thousands of years ago, and they built a mindset that makes you untouchable to manipulators. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When someone shows you their character, why be surprised? It's like being shocked that a fig tree produces figs." In other words, don't be surprised when people show their true colors. If you've ever nurtured a relationship with someone, only to have it turn sour when you realized their sole intention was to exploit you for personal gain, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But instead of wallowing in those memories, let's focus on the lessons the Stoics offer. It's a philosophy that can guide us through these murky waters, helping us navigate relationships and situations that test our resilience. Welcome to Secrets to Growing Rich. The problem? We've all encountered that individual who appears in our lives out of nowhere, showering us with compliments and favors, acting as if they genuinely care about us. Then suddenly they find themselves in a tight spot and expect us to bail them out. You've probably found yourself in situations where someone close to you has exploited your empathy and generosity, causing you pain and disillusionment. Maybe it was a friend who always needed financial help, but never offered anything in return. A manipulative partner who used you for emotional support while neglecting your own needs. Or a fake colleague who took credit for your hard work. These experiences can leave you feeling betrayed, angry, and questioning why anyone would treat someone so poorly. It's a valid sentiment, and one that the Stoics would certainly understand. The Stoics believe that negative emotions like anger and resentment were often a result of our own choices and perceptions. Epictetus, a prominent Stoic philosopher, argued that we had the power to choose whether or not to be upset by something. He famously said, "He who is able to abstain from any pleasure for the sake of the whole is also able to abstain from the whole for the sake of one pleasure." In simpler terms, if you're able to resist giving in to one desire, you can resist giving in to many others. This means that when faced with exploitation or manipulation, you have the ability to decide how to react. While it may not be easy, it is always a choice. In fact, Stoicism encourages us to not only accept the negative emotions that come our way, but to recognize them as opportunities for growth. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote in his personal writings, "The obstacle is the path." By embracing challenges and difficult situations, we can learn and become stronger. For example, when faced with a manipulative friend, you could choose to see this situation as an opportunity to practice setting boundaries and asserting your needs. But what does this mean in practice? Well, let's take a closer look. People can be manipulative, taking advantage of our kindness for their own gain. Dealing with such situations can be tricky, especially when it comes from someone we know and trust. But what if we could approach these encounters with a little more wisdom and grace? Enter the Stoics, ancient philosophers who had some pretty sage advice on handling challenging people. They believed in responding to negative situations with tranquility and wisdom, rather than with anger or despair. Marcus Aurelius put it beautifully. "Today I escaped from anxiety," or no, I discarded it because it was within me, not outside. In other words, it's not the events around us that cause distress, but our perception of them. When someone tries to exploit us, we have the power to choose how to respond. We can't control others, but we can control ourselves. Seneca, another prominent Stoic philosopher, said, "He who is slow to speaks well." In other words, take your time to consider your response before reacting impulsively. When faced with a tricky situation, pause, breathe, and think before you act. Ask yourself, is this really necessary? Will it help to lash out? Or would it be better to stay calm and collected? And here's the thing. Staying calm isn't just about keeping your cool. It's about taking a step back and observing the situation clearly. It's about recognizing the signs of manipulation or exploitation and choosing not to play the game. By staying calm, you prevent yourself from making decisions you might regret later. You give yourself the time to assess the situation objectively and respond in a way that aligns with your values and goals. In fact, the Stoics believed that remaining calm and level-headed was a sign of true strength. They saw anger and impulsivity as weaknesses that could lead to poor decisions and unnecessary suffering. By cultivating inner peace, you become more resilient in the face of external challenges. You become less reactive and more proactive in shaping your own destiny. So the next time you find yourself in a situation where someone is trying to exploit or manipulate you, take a moment to pause, breathe, and reflect. Don't be hasty. Respond with intention and purpose. Channel your inner Stoic and embrace the challenge with tranquility and wisdom. After all, as Marcus Aurelius said, the obstacle is the path. Setting boundaries. Imagine you've finally reached a point in your life where you're ready to prioritize your own needs and set boundaries with those around you. You've decided to stop tolerating the constant guilt trips from a family member who always seems to need financial help. Or you've reached a tipping point with a friend who consistently takes advantage of your kindness. You're ready to assert yourself and protect your own well-being. But there's a catch. The guilt and pressure from others haven't disappeared just because you've set your foot down. It's at this moment that you truly understand the depth of your transformation. You realize that you can't control others, but you can control how you respond. The key is to maintain your resolve and stay firm on your boundaries. Don't let fleeting feelings of guilt or pressure sway you. Stay true to your values and prioritize your own well-being. For example, you may have decided to stop lending money to a friend who consistently fails to repay. But when they come knocking, desperate and pleading, you feel a sense of unease. You start questioning your decision and wondering if you're being too harsh. But you push through the discomfort, reminding yourself that you made this decision for your own financial stability and emotional well-being. It's important to remember that setting boundaries is not selfish. It's a necessary act of self-preservation. By protecting your own needs and values, you're not diminishing the importance of others, but rather acknowledging that you can't pour from an empty cup. When you're depleted and overburdened, you're not able to fully help or connect with those around you. So the next time you find yourself torn between your own needs and the pressure of maintaining a certain image or pleasing others, take a moment to reflect. Are you staying true to your values and priorities? Are you honoring your own well-being? Trust yourself and stay firm on your boundaries. As Marcus Aurelius wisely wrote, the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. Choose to think of yourself and cultivate a sense of self-worth that is undependent on the approval or validation of others, claiming your power. Picture this. You've even finally woken up to the realization that some people in your life are nothing but energy vampires. It's always draining you of your time, attention, and resources without giving back. You've been taken advantage of in the past, used as a pawn in other people's games. But now you're done. You're ready to reclaim your power and assert yourself against those who have held you back for far too long. However, even after setting boundaries and distancing yourself from toxic individuals, you still can't shake this feeling of emptiness. You're restarting to understand that the real victory lies in breaking free from their grasp and refusing to play by their rules. You realize that true power comes from within, from the strength of your convictions and the courage of your actions. It's a profound shift in perspective that allows you to see yourself as the author of your own story. You understand that you're not defined by the actions or opinions of others, but by the values and principles that guide you. You realize that you're capable of facing the world on your own terms, of carving out your own path to success and fulfillment. No longer will you settle for less than you deserve. No longer will you tolerate those who seek to belittle or diminish you. You're ready to break free from the shackles of fear and doubt and embrace the limitless potential that lies within you. And in doing so, you'll inspire others to do the same. A Stoic challenge to you. So I've got a challenge for you today. Something to really test your mettle. I want you to think of someone in your life who's been nothing but a taker. Someone who's always there when they need something from you, but never around when you need them. Think of the times they've manipulated or exploited you, the times they've left you feeling used and undervalued. Now, here's where things get interesting. I want you to imagine a scenario where you refuse to play their game. Picture yourself standing up for yourself, asserting your needs and refusing to be taken advantage of. Imagine the power that comes from knowing that you won't tolerate being treated like a doormat anymore. But I want you to take it a step further. Think about the ripple effect this will have on your life. How will you feel when you reclaim your power and refuse to be controlled by others? How will your relationships change when you stop settling for less than you deserve? I know it can be scary to envision breaking free from the chains that have held you back for so long, but I challenge you to embrace the fear and dive right in. Set those boundaries, assert your needs, and reclaim your life. Don't let anyone hold you back any longer. Closing impact. In a world filled with individuals who only see what they can get, it's easy to feel disillusioned and disheartened. You might wonder if there's still room for kindness and generosity in a society that often feels self-centered and exploitative. However, the Stoics teach us that we can still find common ground with such people, but we must do so cautiously and wisely. We can be kind and compassionate, without allowing others to drain us emotionally or financially. By focusing on our inner strength and resilience, we can navigate these challenging relationships without losing sight of our values. And when we do encounter those who seem intent on exploiting us, we can respond with grace and dignity. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Let's strive to be the best versions of ourselves and hold fast to our values, even in the face of adversity. The world may not always be fair or balanced, but we can find peace and fulfillment by staying true to our inner compass. By the way, don't forget to check out the video on 20 Stoic tricks to outsmart manipulators. This content is created because I want to help you become the strongest version of yourself. To keep this content free, please consider supporting this channel. Thank you, and see you on the next one.